Hello, welcome to this special coaching session. We will be starting in a moment. And I am excited to support you today on how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. We have people joining us right now. I am streaming this live on multiple platforms, and also you who are joining me here on Zoom. Thank you for being here today. And I just need to fix my mascara and then we can get going. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special session on how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. I'm excited to start soon. Start by introducing yourself. Thank you for being here today. My team and I really appreciate it that you are taking the Friday afternoon, for most of you, to be in this session with me here together today. If you're watching on one of the platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can also interact in the chat, and my team will be watching everything that's happening there. We have people from Switzerland, Czech Republic, Germany, Estonia, Romania, Germany, US, Poland, Portugal. Thank you for joining today. An international community joining this open coaching session. We're going to be talking about how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. We know what crisis we're talking about that's hanging over all of us worldwide right now. And this session is to help you take the next steps in your life and business, answer all the questions that I can answer. We also have the community. We have people joining us also who can help us answer these questions as well. And I want you to walk away with some clarity on what you can do yourself to navigate this crisis. More people from US, Germany, Slovenia, Czech Republic, Austria, Czech Republic, Luxembourg, Hungary, Switzerland, Czech Republic. Thank you all for joining today. Other people from Sweden, Norway, Estonia, Iceland, Belgium, France. Thank you so much. I love it how international the community is, and that we're coming here together on a Friday afternoon to talk about how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. More people joining us. Austria, Germany, Albania, Netherlands, Slovakia, Czech Republic. Thank you so much for joining today. More people joining also from Spain, Lanzarote, on Germany, UK, more from the UK, Czech Republic, Austria, Canada. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining today. This is a very, very special session on how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. We're streaming this live on multiple platforms so more people can enjoy it, and it will be easier to watch the replay for those who cannot join us live today. We have more people joining us: Denmark, US, Lithuania, Czech Republic, Germany. It's time to get started and talk about how to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. Heads up, I am no expert on war, and I hope you are not either. But something that I didn't realize that I was good at is leading in a crisis. Already in 2004, I took over a company that had been losing money for 7 years, and I entered what we call turnaround management. And from there, I realized that those who are very good at turnarounds are often very good at leading in a crisis. Leading in a crisis is very different from leading when everything is smooth. If everything is growing, everything is positive, there's no bad things happening, no big challenges, it is pretty easy to lead. And we have seen in the corona response of some countries that some countries are better at leading in a crisis and other countries are less. I'm a citizen of two countries. I'm an Icelandic citizen and I'm a Swiss citizen. That gives me the special angle at looking at how two countries have responded to a crisis. And I'm just taking the corona crisis as an example on how one country led versus another country was dragging their feet constantly. Switzerland is fantastic at leading when there's no crisis. It's a dream country to live in when there's nothing bad happening and no big challenges. And that's what they're used to. On the other hand, I come from Iceland. I'm born in Iceland. And we have all these natural disasters happening all the time. We had 117 weather warnings in February alone, and thereof there were 4 red alert weather warnings. We are used to crisis. So basically, it is even in the nature of the Icelandic people to deal with crisis, and that's why we have a lot of crisis response people coming out of Iceland and going all around the world to help. So the way Iceland dealt with the corona crisis was, in my opinion, a good way. They were proactive. They dealt with it swiftly. They took good action. There was never a complete lockdown, but also they have one of the lowest, the over death rate of the average death rate. Switzerland, on the other hand, similar size to Denmark. Denmark lost 3,500 people in the corona crisis. Switzerland, similar size, similar healthcare system, they lost 13,500. So you can see from the difference that Switzerland is not good at dealing with a crisis. Now, that just gives you a glimpse on how countries deal with a crisis, is also how people can deal with a crisis, how leaders deal with a crisis, and how you can deal with a crisis. You can see from this that the first of all is speed. But more about that in a second. So I am going to give you some slides. I will be flipping back and forth between the slides. We have about 2 hours together and maybe longer if you need it. But here I am. Actually, I am, in a weird way, crisis is where I thrive. I should probably be in some crisis response team, but I've chosen business. But every time there's a crisis, I kind of get alert. I wake up and I know instantly what to do. And I am here as your resource today to tell you what my reactions are in a crisis. I've also read a lot about, leadership and crisis management and interviewed people, but there are from principles that I have applied myself throughout my business career, and specifically in the corona crisis, and now again with this crisis that is happening right now. So let's dive in without further ado. How to think, lead, and grow in a crisis. I stand with Ukraine. The hashtag Stand With Ukraine is the one that I use when I'm posting online. It gives a very clear stand. You see that I've adapted my slides to show you where I stand. I'm going to come in a moment what that all means. Here's what's happening right now. A country, an independent country, without any provocation has been attacked. And we know who's to blame for that, a man named Putin. We cannot put all Russians under that hat, but this is a fact. If the Russian troops stop fighting, there is no war. If Ukraine stops fighting, there is no Ukraine. Therefore, this is a not just a humanitarian crisis, this is also about the defense of Ukraine. So questions you might have right now: what do you do as a business owner? How do you market and sell right now? What do you do as a human being? Are you still allowed to have fun? Well, as it happens, I am going on a trip tomorrow, and I hope I do have some fun. Yeah. How can you support the people of Ukraine? What's the best way to help right now? And more questions you might have: how are you supporting your clients? What can you say to them? How are you supporting your community? What can you do publicly for your followers? What are you doing to take care of yourself? What helps you to recharge your batteries right now? So we're going to dive into all of these questions, and I'll also happily take your questions if you're watching here on Zoom with us. If you are watching the recording, obviously not, but we are streaming this in multiple locations, so there are recordings available. This is a free no-pitch event for my clients and all of my community and friends and family, whoever wants to watch us here today and later on. The aim is to support you in the next steps of your life and business, mainly your business. I'm a business coach, and I want to help my clients and community grow their businesses in an ethical, sustainable way. How do you respond in a crisis? If you are one of my clients, you will probably have seen how I responded in the past 9 or 10 days. When you respond in a crisis, there are a couple of ways. So here is what I have been observing both now and 2 years ago, pretty much exactly 2 years ago, when the COVID pandemic started in March 2020. No response. And I want to take a quick, to get you going in the chat. How do you feel when someone who you are following doesn't mention at all what's happening right now? How does that make you feel? Strange, irritated, awkward, suspicious, bad, weird, unconnected? I start to unfollow, disconnect. They need time. Well, if they are a leader, if they are someone you're following, that automatically makes them a leader. And therefore, they do not have the luxury of time. Individual people who are not leading anybody, they have the luxury of time. They can wait with a response. But if you are following someone, that automatically puts them in the bracket of leaders. And if a leader is not saying anything or doing anything, well, saying something, so that you know that they're doing something, that automatically has eliminated them as a leader. They are no longer leading you. No respect for people who act like it's business as usual. I can tell you my response. I noticed something 2 years ago. We took massive action around the COVID response that we've done, and we are using some of that resources and ideas again now for the war on Ukraine. And I looked at some of the followers. Actually, it was accidentally that I was looking through my LinkedIn feed or Facebook, and I saw some of the people I'm following. There was nothing. There was no mention of COVID or a looming recession. And again, these same people, there's no mention of war on Ukraine. Interestingly, one of the people is from Belarus and the other one from Russia. Now, they've lived in the US for decades, but they were born in these two different countries. Now, maybe it's an accident. Maybe I should have checked on some other people, but I didn't think about it until in hindsight where they're from. So I thought it was even more important that these leaders who have hundreds and thousands and millions of followers say something, because it automatically eliminates you as a leader if you don't say something. I know I was talking to someone from the US last night, actually. Some people are worried what others will think. And even leaders with a lot of followers are worried about somehow saying the wrong thing. We know with Black Lives Matter that there was a lot of backlash on some leaders, especially in the US, that somehow said and did the wrong thing. Now, as a leader, you can't be thinking that constantly. Oh, should I say this? Should I say that? If you are constantly worried about what to say, and if you might hurt someone, oh, one person might be unhappy, or I'll get some unsubscribes. Is that a leader to you? Yeah, you cannot lead if you're afraid of having an opinion. I love that, Sabine. That's a quote. Yeah, you cannot lead if you're afraid of having an opinion. Exactly. I love this discussion. Ah, you are great. Yes. The next one is a fussy response. Peace is within you. Look for peace in your house. Let there be peace. Hopefully this will all go away. Yes, I don't know what to say. If you're following someone and they are trying to dance on 2 weddings, how does that make you feel? They're not really saying anything clearly. It's like they acknowledge the situation, but they don't speak clearly. How does that make you feel? They're not really saying anything clearly. It's like they acknowledge the situation, but they don't. It's saying something without saying something. Oh, the esoteric responses. Too weak. Wishy-washy, no trust. Yes, you lose trust. You cannot be on both sides. I had a discussion with someone online that said, yeah, there are 2 sides to this geopolitical situation. And I'm like, 2 sides? Excuse me. Someone attacked a free country without any provocation, and you're trying to be dancing on both sides? A leader has to fight for the ethic he stands for. If you talk about human rights for a decade, you can't stay quiet or not taking position right now. Lucia, yes. Please use everyone. Please use everyone when you post. Privileged arrogance, Stephanie says, yes. They think esoteric response sells better. Yes, I can see that some followers, well, actually a lot of them, will say, yeah, you're so right. Let's hope for peace. Let's all find that peace. Well, if we all would just sit there and find peace within ourselves and not actually help Ukraine concretely in anything, I think there will be no change. Actually, the war will be worse. Yeah, fussy response. I saw a lot of that also when COVID happened. But these were actually the anti-vaxxers who believe in conspiracy theories. And they wrote in a way that both sides, the anti-vax and the vaxxers, or the people for vaccination, they were both seeing what they wanted to see. So it was like a special type of language that was kind of like, and you read it and you were like, what was that? What was that? Yeah. Yeah, you can be for peace and taking action. I am not saying we should not be for peace, but if you're following someone and they are a leader and you look up to them and you're looking for let's say, we're all looking for guidance, all of us. I'm looking for what everyone else is saying too. And if someone is just constantly saying, yeah, go and sit on your sofa and hope for peace, I'm like, I don't think that will help people of Ukraine. If you want to go and sit on your sofa and read a book or meditate, that's fine and good, but that doesn't solve the situation. So we can be both, right? Then there's the clear response. You know exactly what this person means. They take a stand, they take a side. How does that make you feel? Geraldine is saying, get off the fence. A dictator is preparing to march into Europe. Peace is high ideal, but cold hard cash is needed in Ukraine today. Geraldine, yeah. Vicky said, when COVID hit, I had a boss who actively ignored it, so I had to step up and take responsibility to lead our employees. It's basic human responsibility, no question. Insa says, I wrote a special email to my list and lost some people. I don't care about them. I have an opinion and I speak up. That's a leader. Yeah, so I sent out an email a week ago. That was day 2 of the war in Ukraine, with a blog post on how to help Ukraine right now. And 450 people unsubscribed. And I'll say, bye-bye. Go on your way. I am glad that those people unsubscribed, because they are not my people. If they are in any way offended for me saying I stand with Ukraine and here's a blog post on how you can help, well, they have some other problems. Yeah. Yeah, we have some other people in the chat that have many haters right now because they're taking a stand, but that's what leadership is. A leader, I don't know leaders that actually are leading that don't have haters, even the ones where you think, well, how can anyone hate this person? But there are people that will hate them. Sarah says, I post on Instagram because of both Russian and Ukraine claims, only one person unsubscribed. My Russian clients are against war and are suffering too. Absolutely. I do not blame this war on Russian people. Absolutely not. There's only one man responsible, and we know his name. Sent an email about my charity, Cook Along to Aid Ukraine. Some people unsubscribed. Clearly not your people. Yes, Marianne, they're clearly not your people. And then there is this one. If you are following someone, and I know that the timing might have been inconvenient for some people, that a war broke out Thursday a week ago. I saw people in the middle of a launch, many of my clients actually. I also saw someone just publishing a book. And most of the people, especially my clients, took a quick break in their launch to, acknowledge the situation and integrate talking about the war and how to respond with their launch. But there were people that kept on going with their promotions or whatever, and now, a week later, come with a response. How do you feel about that? It was a pretty inconvenient to have a response last week, Better than nothing. There's no such thing as perfect timing in a crisis. Well, Karen, I will disagree with you there, and I'll tell you in a moment. Too late, Barbara says. Natalia is asking, why should we take on the role of leaders? I am a business coach, and my clients and my community are aspiring entrepreneurs or already entrepreneurs. If you want to build a business, that automatically makes you a leader. If you do not want to be a leader, you should not be building a business where you need clients and community. Yeah. Please remember to use everyone in the chat on Zoom. Insa is saying normal marketing does not feel right for me at the moment. No, it doesn't. And we're going to talk about that later. What you can do instead and how you can do it ethically. Because I truly believe we need to continue building our businesses. Birgit is saying, I guess that is too late to support. Seems to me like those just realized that they didn't catch the train and think they need to get on now because it will bring them money. Birgit, I think you hit the nail on the head. Some people realize that they will have a massive backlash if they don't say something. And of course, it's better late than never. But for some, it feels like, oh, I'll have to speak about this, you know, versus having said something a week ago. I love this quote from Desmond Tutu. If you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Now, Desmond Tutu was at that time talking about apartheid in South Africa, but this applies as much to what's happening right now. And actually, there's a second sentence to this quote. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse, and you say that you're neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. Yeah. And even countries that have now, up until this point, said they were neutral, are actually taking a side. Finally, they dragged their feet a bit, but they took a side. Switzerland, finally, yes. Switzerland is always a little bit slow. As I mentioned at the beginning of this session, I'm both an Icelandic citizen and a Swiss citizen, so I'm always looking at how these two countries are responding. And Switzerland doesn't really know how to respond to a crisis. The Swiss system, how this built, it's not geared for crisis, it's just geared for growth. It's geared for everything being always good and no problems. On the other hand, the Icelandic mentality system, our weather, volcanoes and earthquakes and avalanches and always something going on, 117 weather warnings just in February alone. Our mentality is geared for crisis. And I see that as a benefit right now to have the best of both worlds. What's important, Henriette is saying there's no such thing as simple black and white. The thing about leadership, Henriette, is that you have to pick a side. You have to take a stand. Gray is exactly what I was saying before. If you are being gray in your response, that's a fussy response. People cannot deal with that. Yeah. And that's why it's so important in a crisis not to be fussy, to take a clear stand. Should we be political in our businesses? Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you why. I'll stop to screen share for a moment because I want to flip back and forth. About 10, 15 years ago, it was totally fine to not mix politics and business. And businesses would just go on and completely ignore whatever was happening. They didn't have to say anything. They didn't have to take a stand, nothing. And the world has slowly been changing, but what changed it the most was the election of Trump. Then businesses started to take a political stand. Then we have, the pandemic coming. Again, businesses take a stand. And then we had Black Lives Matter, we had a recession, and now we have war in Ukraine. It's no longer accepted to not take a stand. And that's exactly what I shared in my slides before. No response, fussy response, or clear response. You have to pick one of the three. No response, then the quote from Desmond Tutu comes up. If you're not saying anything or you're trying to be neutral, means you're at the side of the aggressor. As I said before, I'm following two people that have hundreds and thousands of followers. They both live in the US. One has Belarus heritage and one has Russian heritage. They've not said anything. Then I know on which side they stand on. No response means you're at the side of the aggressor. Fussy response makes me also think you're on the side of the aggressor because you're not really willing to take a stand. Clear response is the only option for a true leader. And all of you are leaders. As soon as you start to run a business, you're automatically a leader. Now, you can decide to be no response, fussy response, but if you're here on the call today, I guess that's not really the option any longer, as you can see. Everything is political, even if you do nothing, that's political too. Yes, Petra, you are exactly right. Doing nothing means you're at the side of the aggressor. So you've taken a political stand. I can have a compassion, understanding, and a simple discussion, but a war is a different matter. There we have to take a stand. Lives depend on it. Biggie, yes, you're right. Clear response, straight to yourself. Camilla, you're not fussy there. No, I know you're not. We have people from all over the world here. I know there are also people from Australia trying to wake up in the middle of the night to watch and participate in this coaching session. And so we are not just talking about people in Eastern Europe, no. Yes, Camilla, I actually had this discussion with one of my clients. She immediately looked for ways to host refugees in her home and was busy doing that. But when I poked a little bit and asked her more clearly what was going on, she was worried of offending some people in her community, on her email list or on our social media. So even if you're busy helping, it takes you 2 minutes to post on social media. It takes you 30 minutes to write an email to your email list and tell people what you stand. You do find that time because it's important to let people know what's going on. Yes, great that you did that, Camilla. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So how to lead in a crisis? As I said, again, you're automatically a leader when you start a business. So the question is, are you going to be good in leading or not? So time is of essence. In any crisis, your response, it's a matter of hours. Now, you're not in charge of a country or maybe a super big business, but as fast as possible, you respond. Timing is of essence. And the first thing is, of course, to speak up and say how you feel about the situation. Even if you don't have all the information, that's a part of leadership, is to take decisions and do things when you don't have all the information. Speak up, even if you don't really know what's going on. My first post on Thursday morning was worst news to wake up to, that there's war in Ukraine. I barely formed an opinion. I just said, this is horrible news. And that was it. And then I, take some time to think about what is my next action. Sabine says she felt very happy with the vote of the UN that united 141 countries. Yes, that's what's happening a week later is that there are some resolutions, and unfortunately it's not binding, but they are condemning the war, and that's probably not what the madman envisioned, that we are now so united in our response. How would you respond? Via email, social media? Do we plan a strategy? No, the first thing is just acknowledging the situation. It just shows that you are, there, and that you know what's happening, and then you don't need to tell yet what you're doing. Like if there's a crisis happening and I'm going to say something within an hour, I'm just going to say, wow, I can't believe this happening. I support the people of Ukraine. Like if there is a hurricane, if there's an avalanche, what would you do? You would also instantly go on social media and say, wow, I support these people. I'm so sorry that this is happening. Something like that. It's just your initial response. And it's really important that this is done quickly, within an hour, or, that you know about the situation. You want to be fast, definitely within 24 hours. And then within 48 hours, you are developing some more concrete actions. Petra is saying, Sigrun, what makes me think again, there's conflicts and wars at any time. Now people are focused on Ukraine. What do you think about the situation in Africa? 34 conflicts at the moment. I guess it's what's closest to you, right? Yes, we could be posting every day about conflict and war. That's not the point here. It is something that affects you indirectly, directly, and share. Now we have Ukraine situation could lead to World War III. This has not happened since 1945. So the conflicts in Africa, unfortunately, Afghanistan, yes, other situations are unfortunately fortunately do not have the potential to turn into World War III. Yeah, so we can still care. You can donate, you can speak up if that fits what you do on a day-to-day basis. You cannot be talking about war every day unless that's your mission, unless you are not running a business and you want to do humanitarian aid. I'm talking about crisis that is important for you to acknowledge. Yeah. Why do you believe we should speak up even if we don't have enough information? Because if you don't speak up, it means you don't care. If you don't say anything, that gives people the impression you do not care. Just saying 2 sentences. Worst news to wake up to do a day, worst that a war started in Ukraine. Something like that with my social media post. That's it. But saying nothing for 24, 48 hours means that I'm in a cocoon thinking what to do, trying to craft the perfect response. There's never a perfect response. Would you comment on the fuzzy posts or just leave them alone? I leave them alone. Yeah, I thought for a moment, actually, that's a good question, Suzanne. I thought if I should respond to these fuzzy posts that were so annoying in my opinion. No, I didn't. I just know where people stand. What information do I know when one country marches in another? There's no excuse for that ever. No, right, Ina. Client of mine, please, let's not talk about the war. What about the client's mental health? We're coming to that in a moment, but if someone would say that to me, I say, this is more important than anything in the world right now. There's nothing in my world more important than to talk about war right now and to do this coaching session with you. It's Friday afternoon. I normally do not do meetings on Fridays. I should be writing on my book, but there is nothing, literally nothing more important to me right now than to talk about this. And so if client would come to me and say, let's not talk about war, I say, you need to change your mindset here. This is important. Yeah. It's like if there is a child drowning in front of you and someone would say to me, Sigrun, I don't want to talk about the child drowning in the well over there. Can we talk about something more fun? And I'm like, excuse me, no, maybe I need to fire that client. You take critical decisions quickly. So if there's anything you need to cancel, 2 years ago, I quickly decided to postpone the Self-Made Summit. And I decided that before I even did anything else. You know, I spoke up about the pandemic, and then the next thing was to cancel, well, actually not cancel, but postpone an event. So, you know, I'm not asking you or telling you that you should put your business on hold and stop everything. But many of my clients have maybe postponed a launch or do something differently. Maybe they have postponed the launch and are doing something else instead that feels more applicable right now. Maybe you need to look at, you know, the costs in your business. Maybe something you can cut. Maybe you want to have, you know, better cash flow or actually invest. I truly believe that you should not stop your business. I am investing in certain things. Like I want to keep the economy going, and I want to make sure that we have an economy, that we don't go into recession. The danger with war, of course, is that prices go up and that people hold their cash and don't invest. And if everyone does that, we have the horrible thing called recession, which means that nobody's spending any money, nobody's paying you, and that is a disaster for the world as well. Yeah, giving away X percentage of your launch revenue to support in Ukraine. Sabine is saying it's also a matter of publicity. Some people who do not speak up in public yet might take action, help, or speak to their contacts, clients, and people next to them with a clear position. Yes, but Sabine, you are not a leader if you don't speak publicly. I have been talking to a few people that have been very active in helping, donating, but they didn't speak up publicly. And there was always some reason about, yeah, I'm a little bit worried what people think. I might get unsubscribes or haters or whatever. That's not leadership. Leadership is speaking publicly and talking about what you're doing. If all of you, all the people that I'm following, all are in hiding, helping, that's not helping others, because when you share that you're helping, you're inspiring others to help. Suzanne canceled 60% of her Facebook friends. They were just sharing fake news, the same as Corona. Yeah, it's a sad fact that people are not able to really know what's right or wrong in terms of news. It's so important that you follow the news organizations that actually verify their news. You know, your news should not come from YouTube and social media. Your news should come from actual news organizations, and the ones that, you know, try to really be as neutral as possible. I know there's no news organization that's completely neutral, but if you go completely right or completely left, that's not very helpful either. Yeah, you should stop your automation. So that's one of the critical decisions. If you have an automation going on social media or automation going on email that might feel insensitive to people, it is about turning that off and going manual for a little bit until it feels right to put the automation back on again. If we don't stand up now, what kind of humans, what kind of leaders are we? Bridget, that's a very good one. How would you respond to people pointing on people not reacting with the Syrian war? I think there was a lot of reaction to the Syrian war. But again, it was maybe not the danger of World War III, Lucia. So that's why people are so worried right now and why we're all very concerned that this escalates. Yeah, I spoke up about Syria. And interestingly, I have been in Syria And I've also been in Ukraine. I hope that is not message from the universe. Yeah. Check on your team, family, friends, clients, and community. So make sure that people are okay. If you're okay yourself, check on other people as well. And you as a leader, your energy is better also served in actually checking on other people, because that will make you feel better too. Yes, Lucia, yes. I have been in Syria and Ukraine. Help those that need help. These could be your team, family, friends, clients, community, but also I'm talking about donating, supporting, helping the people of Ukraine. I hope you have seen the blog post that I wrote a week ago that has resources for you, how you can help. There are gazillions of other resources out there. I just quickly put this together a week ago because I didn't find anything that had enough information at the time. But since then, gazillion blog posts have popped up with information on how to help. Biggie says her Quick Start course is about anxiety. So yes, that topic definitely is working in connection with what's happening right now. Yeah, it helps them deal with the situation. Great. And then provide resources. This is something that we also did 2 years ago. We provided a lot of resources. So one of the resources, of course, is the blog post that I just mentioned. But we are also planning a resource that I'm going to be sharing about next week. Further resources coming from our clients on how you can, think, lead, and grow in a time of crisis. And I'm seeing a comment over on, I'm looking at Zoom and trying to look at YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn at the same time. And Jon is saying, greed is not a leader's virtue. Absolutely. But you can grow your business in an ethical, sustainable way, and that's not greed. Yeah. Laura saying, this webinar made us realize we've done everything right, despite some people trying to tell us we haven't done so. Thank you. Laura, I'm happy to hear that you have been following this. We can call it a playbook, a leader's playbook in a crisis. Yes. Wonderful. It's good. That's good. And then you have to adapt plans. You might have had some plans for 2022. You want to do this and this and that. You're going to look at these plans right now. I'm not saying you have to throw them out of the window, but you do have to adapt them. You have to be mindful of this situation. We have no idea what's going to happen next. There is a madman over there in his palace in Moscow. And because he's a madman, it's not rational what he's going to do next. And therefore, you need to adapt your plans and see how you can, navigate with your business this year. And that's where we're going to work with our clients in the coming weeks, of course, to help them adapt those plans. And then it's going back to speaking up, going back to, is there any more critical decision that we need to take? Being timely when there are some big changes, because a crisis is not one moment. Crisis is normally a thing, it's up and down. There's something new development, and you can speak up again. It's important that you acknowledge the situation. Even though you have spoken up once, it doesn't mean that you can just go off and, oh, now I'll continue running my business and not mention at all what's happening. Meanwhile, people are dying in Ukraine. And especially if you have, clients there, and even if you don't have clients in Eastern Europe or closer, or even in Europe, acknowledging the situation from time to time. I'm not saying you have to email out every day about the situation or post every day on social media. But if I go to your social media feed and I scroll down, I would like to see from the leaders that I follow from time to time a mention of that they are aware of this conflict and that they care. That's what I would want to know. So, how do you think? So, we have crisis. You know, we have life crisis, we have business crisis, and now we have a war as a crisis. And what always helps me is to change what you can change and accept the things you cannot change. Now, I am not going to go to Moscow and stop this madman, not me personally. I hope someone else does. But what can I do? I can be here and do this coaching session. And then I think on Monday or on the weekend, what else can I do? Can I donate? Can I do more for my community? Can I help my clients more? What else can I do? When you are in that mode of like, what can I do? You are less worried about your own, of course, war stresses out. And the one thing I would say, because I read the news every day, I do not believe in ignoring the news. I know some people were saying this in COVID 2 years ago. Yeah, I never read the news. And I'm like, wow, never read the news? I find that quite ignorant, to be honest. The news are there to tell us if something bad and hopefully also what good is happening in the world. So I do think you should read or watch the news, but what you should not do is to do it right before you go to sleep. I did the mistake the other day. I was reading about the war, and then I went to bed and I had a horrible sleep. I couldn't really sleep because you start to get worried, and you're all kinds of worries that may never come true. But I felt if I had not done it right before I go to sleep, I would have actually slept quite well. So sleep is so important in a crisis. I'm going to come to that in a second. But it's important that you change what you can change and accept the things you cannot change. Being angry or that also is not helping. Think about what can you do? Ask yourself every day, what can you do? What can you do? What can I really do for my clients? Petra, great question. So our COVID response 2 years ago and our response now is in some ways similar. Is first of all, I went live in all our clients' groups to, of course, speaking up, acknowledging the situation, and telling them to keep on going with growing their businesses. Because that's the worst thing we can do is to stop our businesses, then we go into recession, and then this madman in Moscow has won even more. So it's calming people down. As a leader, you're calming people down. Even if you don't have all the answers, you don't know how this is going to turn out, but you showing up for your clients, offering them an extra coaching session is also an opportunity. That's what we're doing right here, right? So I did Facebook Lives in all our clients' groups. I would spend our coaching sessions, for instance, on, Tuesday, I had a coaching session with one of my client groups, and I spent the first 30 minutes on talking about the war in Ukraine and how they could help and support their clients and community and what they should be doing next. And that's when I also got the idea to do this on a bigger scale for more people. Yona is saying, as leaders, we need to stay strong and show support for our clients. Exactly. This is not for you to go back to bed and say, oh, I hope this is just all going to go away magically with peace in my heart. No, you show up, you lean in the other direction, and you check in on your clients. You might even ask them directly what you need right now. Typically, an extra coaching session will do it. Susan says that some spiritual coach posted, yesterday morning, my husband told me what's happening in the Eastern world. I had no idea. I wasn't in any news. I almost never am, unless I choose it consciously. Oh my God, Suzanne, that's not a leader, right? Please pick everyone when you're commenting in the chat on Zoom. Yeah. The news every day are telling us so many unimportant things. I don't want to stuff my brain with those. Julian, the way I do it, I have an RSS feed. I'm going to type this into the chat. RSS feed. I have a reader called Feedly, and I subscribe to news outlets that are, reliable, respectable, trustworthy news sources, and I subscribe to them. And I subscribe to the headlines. So if it's in the headlines, it's important. And then there are no ads, right? Which is very good. And there's no fluff. There's just the headlines. And I can go through the news of the day in 10 minutes. And I think all of us should do that. You should not ignore the news. Petra is saying, Sigrun, I want to make you a compliment and big hug. Oh, big hug. It's great you spend your time to support us in this way. Thank you. Thank you, Petra. I'm happy to do so. I feel called to do so. It's almost as if I have no choice, but in a good way, if you know what I mean. I feel called to do this. Serena is saying our online business are much influenced by social media. I hardly appeared to social media before. Doing this strongly now did not feel right to me. Well, I think maybe after the session, you will change your mind, Serena, because people are looking to you. They're waiting for you to say something. And they will not tell you that they're waiting for you to say something. Only later on, you realize that someone maybe doesn't trust you anymore, doesn't respect you anymore because you didn't say anything. Spanish, Arabic outlets often miss because of time difference, and then suddenly their news are not on the top of the list. Malin, I subscribe to, actually the Icelandic news are pretty international. So I get headlines from all over the world in Icelandic. I also read the Swiss news. I read the UK news and sometimes German news as well. So I try to get these different flavors just from respectable resources. And I do not feel that I'm seeing less from other continents at all. Trusted news agencies are one-sided, aren't they? No, they're not. Well, let me say, every news agency has, a side. It might be middle in political sense, a little bit left, a little bit right. There are also those far right. And the far right, the danger is that they have conspiracy theories. The same with far left. They also are, more fake news and stuff. So I pick news outlets that are around the middle. It could be a little bit right, a little bit left, middle. I am probably middle left. Generally, when I read my news, I tend to like those outlets more, but I subscribe to the middle right ones too, so that I don't have the filter bubble of just seeing news one-sided. So you have to consciously know that a news outlet maybe has a certain stance. There's a news outlet that I follow, and sometimes what they say, I'm like, oh, this feels so wrong. But I'm seeing that they have their right-wing filter. Yeah, it doesn't mean that they're lying. They just have the right-wing filter on it. So we want to talk about stress, because you might be going through stress and your clients or your community might be going through stress right now. Have any of you been feeling some stress? Yes, yes, yes. A lot. I felt more anger, Susan says. Susan, please use everyone when you post so everyone sees it. Very much, yeah. Stress and fear. Sandy says he found trustworthy sites in 2016 after the US election and understands the filters of the viewpoint. Yeah, it's understand. Just read the news with that people have different political opinions. It doesn't mean it's fake news, though. Anger, yeah, concerns. Yeah, we feel stressed, anger, sadness, powerless. So here are some tips. And if you have any more tips to suggest here in the chat, then I welcome them too. So first of all, this applies to anything really, is to listen to your feelings and accept your feelings. Many years ago, I had something what we call a panic attack that happened many, many years ago, 2006, 7 or so. And the way to deal with that was to accept it, because sometimes we don't accept that we feel a certain way. So if you feel stressed or anger or lost or powerless, just, the acceptance of the feelings is the first step in order to change them. And that's what a psychologist told me. And I was so quick in healing myself that after 4 sessions, he dismissed me. But accepting my feelings was the first step. Taking care of yourself. So what do you need? And making sure you have that. This is not the time to lose sleep or start to eat crappy food. Exercising daily, says Catherine, yeah. Observe your thoughts, yes. Reassess your to-do list. In 2003, I went through a horrible breakup. And one day, my boyfriend at the time, we had been together for 8 years, he told me he didn't love me. And my world fell apart. And I went to work and my brain was like, I couldn't think. And I remember sitting down with my sister who worked with me at the time, because I was so stressed about also like, I just couldn't do anything. Obviously, I was incapable of working that day. So, but writing down everything that I thought I had to do, and then I reassessed with the help of my sister at the time, what do I actually need to do? What's important? What cannot wait? What's urgent? Turns out from the list of 30 or 40 items that I wrote down, there were 1 or 2 things that I needed to do. And I did those things and then I went home probably an hour later and just, I went home to my mother and cried my heart out. But that's just an example that when you have this, you feel it's all too much. And this is the same way you deal with overwhelm, really, is to write down everything you think you need to do. And then you ask yourself, what's really urgent right now? What do I need to finish today? And then when you do that, you actually start to feel better in a weird way, even if the crisis is still going on. Find support and seek help if needed. That's what I did, for instance, in that case. Talk to someone. You don't have to be alone in this. If you don't feel you can talk to family and friends, find someone in your community and just ask, does someone have time right now to talk? Get help. Yeah, Insa is saying she doesn't listen to the news 24/7. You don't have to, but ignoring the news is not good, because then you miss out what's really happening in the world, and we should never do that. That's not leadership. Stop whenever you feel hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Actually, there is a short code for this. Halt. The first step is to accept your feelings and make sure you take care of yourself. Journaling, Petra is saying, yes. For me, journaling is a little bit like, writing down everything you need to do. I would do that also if I was journaling. Just write down everything and then ask yourself, when I had this panic attack back in 2007 or so, I was journaling my way through as well, asking myself why I was feeling this way, what could have caused it, whatever, because in the beginning I didn't know what it was. And then later on, I found that out, then the situation that started to resolve itself. Drawing a mandala, Heike says, yeah. Share your good and bad feelings with others, yes. Self-care journey, day by day, to help people deal with a crisis. Birgit, that's great. Yeah, I think journaling seems to be a common suggestion here. Find moments of joy. Free intuitive painting for 15 minutes every day. Yeah, great idea. Breath work, meditate, self-compassion, walking in nature. Take action in donation activities. Insa, please use everyone when you chat so everyone sees it. Shaking the stress out of the body. Sina, I love that. Shaking the stress out of the body, that's a good one. So how can you lower your stress response? Because you don't want to always be on the alert stage. Sleep. Sleep is my favorite one. If you don't know that, I actually have to sleep 9 hours. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and I'm an amazing person, blah, blah. This miracle mornings or whatever, or 5 a.m. club. I am not in the 5 a.m. club. I'm not in the miracle morning club. I will sleep. This morning, I woke up naturally 8:15. And then I was still snoozing in bed for another 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. I will, so sleep. And I went through a family emergency in 2 months, mid-October to mid-November. And I realized after that also I slept more. And sometimes, I'm kind of over it now, but for a while I would find this real tiredness feeling in the middle of the day. And I just allowed myself to go and take a nap. And I'm not a nap person. And in an average situation, I do not take a nap, but I'm accepting how I feel, how my body feels. And I realized that in order to get my stress levels low, to also, work myself out of the situation, that I just take naps. Totally good. Yeah. Ivana, oh my God, 9 hours. Yeah, well, it works for me. I need a lot of sleep. Laura says, anyone who's had kids will never voluntarily join the 5 a.m. club. No, I think the people who write about 5 a.m. club and Miracle Morning are all men and they don't have kids, or if they have kids, someone else is taking care of the kids. Social self-care. Talk to people, talk to your friends. What you're doing right now is also great. You are talking to us. We are recognizing how we feel. We're doing something about it. We're talking about some people cannot do 9 hour sleeps and what they're doing. Cuddling with my dog helps a lot. Oh yes, Petra, I wish I had a dog. I am a dog lover, but it just doesn't fit my lifestyle to have a dog. And plus I have an allergy. I'm allergic unfortunately. But my sister has a dog, and from time to time, I can cuddle her dog. Sleep is the best way of recovery. Yes, I agree. Oh, Barbara is cuddling her puppy. I wish you could show us a picture. I'm not sure that's possible on Zoom. No. Mental self-care. Are you proactively doing things that help you stay mentally healthy? We talked about reading the news versus not reading the news and things like that. But what else can you do? Can you maybe read or watch something uplifting, or listen to something uplifting, or that's good for your mental health? Claudia is also a 9-hour sleeper. Hey, we're going to start a new club, the 9-hour sleepers, right? I'm not sure we're going to have so many in the club, but inspiring audiobooks, forest bathing, spending time in nature, forest bathing, take a walk in the woods, singing. Yes, singing. Being out in nature, go dancing. Yes. Anna says she felt hugely overwhelmed this afternoon, need to move forward. Anna, I hope these tips are helping you and that you can process, maybe go over this training again then afterwards. Being present, Petra, yeah, that's very important too. Yes. In a time of crisis, also it's more about today and tomorrow versus what's happening in a week or 3 months, because in a crisis, you just honestly don't know. So there's no point wondering about that. So being present actually is more important than ever in a crisis. Candy is saying cup of hot tea. Actually, yes, I don't drink a lot of tea, or I don't drink coffee at all. And I drink tea from time to time when I'm cold, or actually, I find it calming. Yeah. Biggie realized that anxious thoughts are just thoughts, not reality. Exactly. That's why we talked about how to think in a crisis. You can control your thoughts. You are in charge of this piece here. Something happens out there, you can also control your response to it. Karen, I renewed my promise myself to reach out to family and friends. I helped during Corona and now too. Yes. Water. Yeah. Listening to water is very calming. So short-term stress relief, focus on breathing. If I feel some stress coming up, then I take a very deep breath. Sometimes I do that so much that I actually get dizzy in my head, so I have to be careful. Coco says she shared that exactly now in her course. Wonderful. That's fantastic. Take a walk. As I told you before, and some of you might know, we had a family emergency. Everyone is safe and sound now, but both of my parents were simultaneously in hospital in Tenerife in Spain. I was with them there. I flew out to support them. This was before my mother went in hospital as well. My father went into hospital first, then my mother had to go in hospital as well. And suddenly I'm there with no support. And what I did to calm myself down was to take long walks. I would go for a 2-hour walk at the beach, at the ocean. Water, again, very calming. I think people who live close to water are very fortunate. It's something about the calming of it. Except if it's crazy weather in Iceland and the sea is coming over the street, that's a different one. But yeah, so I took long walks and it helped me a lot. Walking in the woods is great. The problem with that in Iceland is that if you stand up, you look over the trees. There's very few woods here, but we have a lot of water. Reiki sessions? Yes. What can we do to get some influence on this madman in Moscow? Send him thoughts. Oh, yes. Send him love might help. I don't know. I think we just have to have someone else take care of it. That's where I say, I accept that I cannot do anything about the madman. I'll do what else I can do. Yeah. In my fiction book, I have a plan on what to do with him. Practice progressive muscle relaxation. Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is? Progressive muscle relaxation. I love it when it's guided, you know. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Anna is asking what it is. So I love it when it's guided, when someone is telling you to focus on a muscle and you kind of, you know, you can, what do you call it? Retract. What do you say that in English? You know, you expand. No, you go out. Contraction. Yeah. Yeah. And then relax and release. Contract and release. Yeah, I was looking for the word. Yeah. And it's very powerful. You can go through the whole body. And you're like, whoo, like floating on air afterwards. Body scan. Yeah, that's a similar one. Like, okay, now think about your stomach. Yeah, I just think with muscle, you get this release. You know, you tense and you release. Yeah, Sigrun's fiction book is a dangerous topic. Manage your day-to-day transition. So just for a brief moment between what you're doing, take a moment and calm down. Crowdsource stress relief. Yes, we, as you know, when you're here on Zoom, everything is recorded and the chat is recorded, and we can definitely crowdsource all your great ideas and sum them up. Meditate. Guess everyone knows that. Oh, yeah. Oh. Energy. There's many ways to meditate though. And I want to, you know, there's not everyone that wants to sit in a yoga position and do this. So actually I prefer to go on walks, long walks with no audiobooks, with no things. And that's my way. So meditation isn't just sitting on your bum and, you know, listening or not listening to music. Active meditation, that's what I do. I prefer that one. You can even meditate standing by a window for 5 minutes. Yes, many ways to meditate. I tried the traditional meditation and I'm such an active person. I couldn't really do it, but I find ways to meditate in other ways. Humming, practice the inner smile. Listening to music can be meditating, yes. Qigong, Frank, yes, wonderful. Happy to have you here, Frank. Laughter yoga, Agatha says, yes. Singing, yes. Ice sledging, yeah, many ways. But to sum it up with stress, the best way I found to really not worry about my own feelings is helping others, you know. Again, I mentioned the family emergency that, you know, I dealt with before Christmas. When you're helping others and taking care of them, and it was a lot of admin, a lot of logistics, then I'm less thinking about myself all the time. And that is one way to really kind of channel your energy in a good way And that lowers stress for me and helps me deal with my emotions. And then, of course, you have maybe some post emotions, like I said, where I have to take a nap, extra naps or something. And that's fine, okay, because the emergency, the crisis is over. So let's talk about how to grow in a crisis as well. We had all the questions at the beginning of this call. I'll go back to them to make sure we've answered all of them at the end of this session. This is a topic where people feel like, can I really be marketing and selling right now? Yes, you can and you should. Why? Because you have some marketable skills. You already have a business. And the best way you can help right now is to actually continue with your business. Giving up or making a pause or even making a stop is not helping the world. Because if you can continue your business, you actually have more resources to help. Candy says, thank you. This is helping me know how to help my clients, that I have something valuable to offer in a crisis. We all have something valuable to offer in a crisis. I'll talk about that in a second. Growing by supporting. Yeah, if you start to see that growing your business is not about you being greedy or insensitive, it's about you using your skills so that you have more resources, more money to support. Now, it doesn't mean that all of it goes to support, but you can decide, for instance, on a portion that goes to supporting. Then you start to see that this is an ethical and sustainable way to build your business. Stopping it is the worst. Stopping business is stopping to help. Someone needs you. Yes, someone needs you. And in order for you to help them, you need to keep on growing your business. That's the ethical way to do it. I feel people won't buy anything because they're too scared. I do finances for women. It's hard to launch right now, Blanca is saying. We will talk about in a moment how you can do that in a good way. Yeah. Marika says, I started to launch and I don't know how to continue. I communicated value and people say it's worth every penny, but they have no money. Now, there are people that do not have money right now because they are directly affected or they're putting all their funds towards helping someone else. Yeah. So we have to look at that, Marika. Let's do that in a second. I could not imagine a better time to start building a business. My current course shows me that what I'm doing is needed more now than ever. Camilla, I love that. Yes. So how do you grow in a crisis? There are new needs in a crisis. Things that people want to pay for because they want and need them right now, and they're willing and able to pay for them. There are some things that they needed and wanted before, and now they don't want it. So you have to look at what you're offering and see if it's as relevant as it was before. You have to adapt your messaging and potentially your offers. Your messaging might be on a certain level, and maybe you want to go down to another level with your messaging to make sure it's relevant what you're selling right now. So I want to show you the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Who knows Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You know it? Many of you know it. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. So if someone is directly affected by the crisis, you know, they don't have food, they don't have shelter. These are not the people that you're selling to right now. These are the people that we want to support. We want to donate. We want to host the refugees or make sure they get shelter, that they get air, water, food, sleep, clothing. Because that's like really the basic need of all human beings. The next one is safety. Now, people want a safe place to stay, but that's already in the red one, the shelter. But personal security, not feeling scared. So that's why there are people, they're fugitives. Ukraine fugitives are going to the neighboring countries. They're also coming all the way to Iceland. If they have any connections to Iceland, they come here. Employment, having a job, or in your case, having a business and having money coming in. Resources, health, that you're not, sick or too stressed. And then it comes to love and belonging. And when you start to see at the top is things that you don't really need, but maybe want when everything is going well. If things are not going well, if there's a crisis, people drop down in the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So if you're selling something that is in the green or even in the blue one, you have to ask yourself if you can adapt your offer and or your messaging so that it actually fulfills a need that is lower on the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Candy say, I think many of us are preparing for something like this, even if we did not know that we're creating our businesses for a time like this. Yes, it is. Crisis creates clarity, Sana says. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It definitely clarifies your values, what you stand for, what you not stand for. I do think it's a fantastic training in leadership and having a business. And having been a turnaround manager, I kind of thrive when things are not going smoothly in a weird way, because I feel instantly that my help is needed. That's where I can, use my leadership skills and business skills. A crisis is a call to grow as a person, as a business owner. Yes, it is. Because there will always be some sort of crisis. We are just coming out of the COVID crisis, and we come into now the war. Now it's the businesses that are able to adapt that survive. It's all about adapting, and we are very adaptable as human beings. We get, even unfortunately in some ways, get used to things very quickly. But it's initially how you react right now that is important, that you keep on going, that you figure out what people really want. So someone who is launching right now, for instance, check in on your people, do a quick survey on what people want right now. I have done this in workshops. I have asked people, what do you want right now? And then it just, they give all kinds of ideas, what they want and willing to pay for. You can do a quick survey. What do you want right now? And you're willing to pay for it. We can do a quick survey right now. What do you want right now? And you're willing to pay for it. It's a simple question. You can ask. In the middle of a launch, you can ask. It is not like that everyone will stop spending money. I for sure will not stop spending money, because that stops the economy, and then the madman in Moscow has won, and I will not let him win, because if there's anything I can control is how I spend my money. I can spend it on donating. I can also spend it on investing in myself and my business to keep it going. And with that, I hope also we all are turning that wheel together, to make sure that we all grow collectively and can help more the people that really need help in Ukraine. I believe crisis made me more adjustable and quick. Yes. You need to ask people, what are they What do they want right now and are willing to pay for it? I'm not talking about peace. We all want peace. But the thing is, I cannot pay $1 million and get peace. I wouldn't even get peace if I paid $1 billion to the madman in Moscow. He doesn't care. So that is unrealistic. You have to ask, what are your current challenges and what would you like help with right now? And what are you willing to invest in? Yeah, we will all want to pay for peace. It's just not on offer. It's not an offer that is available. Training and how to help better, be a better coach and lead clients. Great idea, Vicky. Training on how to get through crisis without losing money. Yes, fantastic. How we can grow and better help others. Yes. So there are things that people want right now and are willing to pay for. And you just got to think that way. And when you look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, take your offer and see where is your offer right now. So let's say if your offer is in the green, can you messages like it's orange or is it yellow? Let's call it yellow. Can you messages? Can you connect with? So for instance, we had a client that I spoke to on Tuesday. She is teaching people piano lessons. He does piano lessons. Yeah, but actually like advanced, really, really advanced. And the question was, can you, instead of saying, oh, this is status or strength or self-esteem or respect, can see messages as love and belonging? And absolutely, music, very powerful. Training on how to adapt our offer. Yes. So look at your offer, find where in the Maslow hierarchy of needs it is, and see if you can messages one level lower in an ethical way. I'm not talking about making it up, any kind of stuff like that, but in an ethical way, like really you feel it in your heart that this is the right thing to do. Yeah, music can be healing, calming. Any questions on this one? Let me know, put it in the chat. So before we go and open up the questions and make sure we cover all the questions we started off with this call, is how to help Ukraine. So how can you help the people of Ukraine right now? I actually want to check if I have a couple of people on the call here today. I'm going to just type in their names. I want to share with you, I want some people to come up and tell me directly how they're helping. And I am specifically calling on people who are closer to the conflict and can help either on the ground or are taking in refugees. So Ingrid, are you ready to come up and share what you are doing? Raise your little hand if it's okay. Not that I am, yeah, okay. She's okay to come on and share how C is helping.
Hi, Sigrun.
Hello, Ingrid. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for being on the call here today.
Thank you as well for this topic. It's so useful and so important right now.
Yeah. So do you want to share with us what you have been doing in the last week, how you are concretely helping the people of Ukraine?
Yeah, sure. So since I have many, I'm from Czech Republic, which is like very close. So for us, it's something that is really touching us very much. And for me personally, I have been living abroad for a few years and I have many friends from Ukraine. So I really felt there is no time to wait. I need to do something. So besides all the things that you have been sharing, like we should speak up for our community and we should show that we feel with the people and so on. Well, I immediately thought, how can I help those people who need that. So I got in touch with my friends who I know that are there. We have been trying to organize how can we help them to get through the borders. And just, for example, the last 2 days we spent helping the people who are already here because they don't speak English mostly, they don't even speak Czech. So we took them to the doctors, to emergency, for example, with the kids, or we took them by car to the place where they have to register. If they have any questions, we made all the phone calls to figure out what exactly they need, because they are, of course, very confused. Those are women with kids, and it's because I myself have 3 kids. It's really tough for me to see the kids because they are shocked, they are scared, they are even scared, of course, because it's so confusing for them. So we, of course, give them toys and food, and we try to make them feel better. So these days have been tough for me because still I have my family, I have been running my business. Also, we organize in our house as we are ready if somebody needs to stay at our place. So my room that I was using for my working room, it's now ready. If somebody wants to come, we have everything, so in place. So yeah, it just feels so natural, because I'm just thinking, if I would be in their shoes, I would be so grateful for those things. And I myself have been also abroad, and I know how it is confusing when you came somewhere and don't speak the language and don't know the rules. So I'm just doing what I can. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for doing this. So basically what you're doing, you're supporting the people who have already arrived in Czech Republic from Ukraine. How did you connect with these women? Like, how did that happen? Like, if someone is watching now and they are in a neighboring country, like, how do you get in touch with people that you could potentially support, like you have supported?
So first of all, just immediately when it happened, like on Thursday, I put on my Facebook profile and also my Facebook page, Instagram, we are open to share our house. If you need help, if you need shelter, just get in touch. Or do you know somebody who is in need? And we also offer that we are able to take our car and go to the border. So immediately some people, they started to tag maybe some friends, or they started to send me messages. And then we got in touch because in Czech Republic, we have men from Ukraine who work here. So we have a small group of them in our small town. So we got in touch with them. And if you contact one, they already tell each other there is a family who is willing to help. They have a car, so they can take you somewhere. And I have an advantage because my husband speaks Russian, so they understand the language. So it's very, whenever they need something, we are able to help them like easily, because they can just call them and then he calls somewhere and so on. So now we are just in the community. And also there are so many Facebook groups focused on helping people. So just if you also like check there what people are saying, or you can say, I'm having free bed, or I'm having time to help. And then there also are some official organizations where you can sign up, either that you have, I don't know, like 4 spaces in your car and you can go somewhere, or you can sign up that you are offering accommodation. You just like say how many people maximum can you offer home, if you wanna have them for like a few days, or if you are able to do like longer terms accommodation. So we just like filled all those papers, and then you just wait, like who will call you. And of course, just besides of this, I'm in touch with people who are there because they are like our friends, for example. But it's so tough because some of them, for example, they wanted to leave, but then the bus wasn't going and they wasn't able to go to the border. So I can tell you, like, I sleep so badly these days because I know all the stories of those people who like text me, we are hiding there and we don't know if it's safe to leave and so on. And I also have one more story to share.
Yeah.
So my son, he is like, he plays a board game of Go, which is like something like chess. And there will be a tournament for students from all Europe now in Prague. And like, it's for kids until 18 years old, this championship. And luckily some kids from Ukraine, they were like, their parents were wise, so they sent them over
already, yeah,
for the tournament, you know, just before it escalated. So we are now in touch with them. My son is going there next week to this tournament, and we offered them, because now they think, shall we leave to Ukraine? That's not a very good idea, of course.
No.
But some of them are there like only kids with no parents, you know. So we are offering them that they can stay at our house as well. So I think if you just like are in touch with people, you see opportunities. And what is important to me, like, don't hesitate to offer, because I just know I have to do it.
Yeah.
Even I'm very busy, I have my kids and stuff, but I just feel it's the right thing to do. So immediately when I learned about those kids, that they are here and they would have to come back, of course I offered, well, we just organize somehow.
You'll figure it out. Yeah.
Just even if I will have to hire some lady to take care of them, I mean, I don't care. So just be open and do what you feel like you have to do.
Yeah. It's amazing to see the support in action. It makes you, because, you know, I'm in Iceland, far away, and it's impossible for us to do exactly those same thing also, but we are getting Ukraine refugees, although here to Iceland, but it feels so nice to see the helpfulness of people like yourself and many others. I know many other people are doing something similar. The question bears, of course, are you continuing running your business?
Yes, I am, but I changed my plans, because originally, basically on Monday, I was supposed to start a lounge, which was supposed to be like very funny, you know, like with dancing reels and stuff. But I was so stressed because on the weekend, I was all the time on the phone or on Messenger with those families from Ukraine. And I was definitely not in the mood of dancing or of saying something funny. So I was so confused because I wasn't sure what to do. Like, how, you know, I didn't want it to stop my business, but I wanted, you know, I just, So I decided, and then just in like one moment, I decided, okay, I will do something else. I can still have a lounge, but I will just change the offer. Like, I will change the thing that I wanted to do. And so I'm a copywriter. So now I'm having like a small summit in Czech language about like how you can actually, like, on social media or in your copy, what shall you do now? Because I know my people are now thinking like, shall I say something or shall I not? Sometimes you get haters if you say something, people are scared. So I just felt I wanna encourage them to speak up and maybe to find their way where they feel fine. And now it feels so good for me when I talk about this event, I invite people, it feels so natural, and I'm not doing any dancing. I'm just like saying, guys, I'm very stressed at the moment. I'm trying to do my best to help everybody, and now I would like to help you. And it just feels perfect.
Yeah. And it feels perfect because you are helping at the same time you're growing your business. And that's where I want to encourage everyone that is here with us today or watches this later. You can grow your business in times of crisis, but it needs to come from the heart, and you're helping at the same time. Yeah. Ingrid, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you for being such a great inspiration, because I learned this from you. Like, you step up as a leader. I will never forget what you did 2 years ago. So you inspire me every day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was a great inspiration on what you can do, especially those who are closer to the border of the conflict. But also there are many other things you can do, even if you are further away. First of all, speak up. I've been saying this again and again, but this is so, so important. Even if you're helping in the background, you have to tell people about it, because then you inspire other people to also help. If you don't share what you're doing and you don't speak up, less people will help. So it's really a part of what you need to do, is to speak up. Host a refugee. Ingrid has offered space in her house. I know many of my clients are already hosting refugees. This is, of course, maybe more for people who are closer, but even, refugees come from all over. You can also be a supporter, like Ingrid does. Like you don't have to necessarily host someone, but you might support them to get the help that they need when they are in your country. Donate. Obviously, there are a lot of charities and organizations on the ground in Ukraine. Look for organizations that are respectable, reliable, and have low overhead. What always bothers me about many, unfortunately, big charities is that there is so big overhead. So if you know someone personally, that is a better option, of course, than those big organizations. Demonstrate. We have people singing outside the Russian embassy here every day in Iceland. I love it. They've closed all the windows and all the doors and everything, and people keep on singing. I know that Anonymous, a hacker organization, an ethical hacker organization, played Ukrainian songs on Russian TV. Speak to your government, depending on what they're doing. Do they need to, pull up their pants and do something more? I do think we need to do more. I'm not exactly sure what, but, let people know that you want more action. I, for instance, want the Russian ambassador to be thrown out of Iceland, and I have been tweeting about that since Monday. It has not happened yet, but I hope it will. Grow your business so you can donate. It is not unethical to grow your business right now. It needs to come from the right place, that you're actually helping people, and that it fits in the Maslow hierarchy of needs in an ethical way, and do it so that you can actually help even more. Intuitive ways how to help. I've been reading on some intuitive ways. So book an Airbnb in Ukraine and pay for it, and let the host know that you're not coming. How cool is that? Have you heard about that? Yes, Heike just mentioned that too. Yes. That's so cool. I'm sure there's some other examples here. Buying digital products from Ukraine sellers. Oh, yes, there's another one. I didn't have a chance to add it to the slides, but there is trending on, how do I do it? There's trending on LinkedIn, recruit Ukrainians, something like that. So basically, if you are looking for someone to work for you, you would add the hashtag recruit Ukrainians, and then they can find all the posts about jobs, remote jobs, location independent jobs. So there is this movement on LinkedIn that I just found this morning, and I thought that was great. Yes, Marianne, you are not supporting companies. It's individuals that have Airbnbs. Yes, a very good point. Well, another one is to write a review for a Russian restaurant and tell them what's really going on, because they are just getting propaganda and fake news in Russia. So this is another movement on the other side to make sure that Russians know what's really going on. Because I think one way to bring this madman in Moscow down is to get Russians to go on the street. But if they are not getting the information, they're just being brainwashed, they cannot do that. A brilliant idea. If you have any more cool ideas, please email us info@sigrun.com if you don't have a chance to share on the chat today. Russians that don't live in Russia have actually been very vocal against the war. So we don't want to blame Russians for this war. It's one madman. You can also pay for Airbnb in your country and have a refugee live there. Yes, you can do that too. I think actually Airbnb is doing something around that. Stop buying Russian and Belarus producers. Yes, I think that's happening anyway. I think they're pulling it out. The local wine store or liquor store in Iceland, they've pulled out all Russian vodka. You can't even buy it. Artists creating support for Ukraine. Well, yeah, you can buy a piece of art, either from Ukraine or from someone supporting Ukraine. Yeah. We have a Russian living near us in France who loves Putin. Ooh. That is just sad. That's nothing but sad. More inventive ideas. If you have some more ideas, as I said, email us info@signal.com. A little guerrilla marketing in terms of helping Ukraine would be great. We have a blog post for you that we published a week ago, how to help the people of Ukraine today. If you just Google Sigrun Ukraine, it's going to come up, number one. We can also share it into the chat. See if I can do that. No, I think my team just has to type it up. Oh. Ah. I think I have to exit the thing. We'll keep on adding resources to it. We'll keep on adding resources to it. And I would just really appreciate that you would help in any way you can. We're going to go back to our original questions from today. Make sure that we have covered them. So today we have answered these questions. What do you do as a business owner? There's no longer business versus politics. Business is political. You need to speak up as a leader. As a business owner, you're automatically a leader and you need to behave as one. How do you market and sell right now? You adapt your offers so that they're actually needed right now. So you might have to create a new offer or adapt the messaging of an existing offer, looking at the Maslow hierarchy of needs. What do you do as a human being? You open up your home, or you volunteer, or you demonstrate, you do something, because it also helps your own mental health and lowers your stress level by helping other people. Are you still allowed to have fun? Yes, you are. That's one way of keeping our mental health and keeping us sane. We'll all go crazy if we just think about war 24/7. You are allowed to party, to meet people for dinner, to travel. I am actually traveling tomorrow. I don't really call it a holiday, but I'm going on a 2-week vacation. And I am going to Tenerife, Spain, the place where I had to deal with a family emergency of my parents. And a part of my healing is going back to the same place where the family emergency happened, because it's got nothing to do with Tenerife, Spain. It's just unfortunate circumstances. So I am working on my mental health as well as taking a break. And of course, I will be available for business because, you know, I'm a business owner, I'm a leader. I do not want to jump ship. And we are currently in the middle of an affiliate launch that's actually going quite well. And so I will be working a couple of hours a day, but I will be playing golf and walking at the beach and enjoying some time off. So yes, you are allowed to have fun. How can you support? We have mentioned lots of great ideas and our blog post as well. The best way to help right now, just think about what does feel right for you right now. Do you need to go and do something, demonstrate or volunteer, or is donating the best way to help right now? How are you supporting your clients? Can you offer an extra Q&A call, coaching session? Can you do something like this for your clients, for your community? Can you help them in time of a crisis? Yes, you can, and you should as a leader. What can you say to them? If you don't know what to say, then that's what you say. Be in the present moment. We don't know what's going to happen in a week or 2 or 3 months from now. In this moment, you can say exactly what we have been talking about today. Supporting your community. The reason we're streaming this live in 4 locations right now is that that's another way to help. I know a lot of clients are here on Zoom. Everyone was welcome to join this coaching call live, but we also wanted to make sure there's a recording for those who want to watch this over the next couple of days and weeks. What can you do publicly? You need to speak up. I cannot emphasize that enough. It is not enough to speak in quiet with your friends and family and clients. You need to speak up and let people know where you stand and how they can help and what they should do next. And last but not least, take care of yourself, listen to your feelings, and do what you need to do to make sure that you take care of your mental health. What is best for you to recharge your battery? Is it a walk in the woods or walk at the beach, meditate or read a good book or watch a funny movie? Don't ignore that you have these needs because you need to stay mentally fit to help others. So, any questions? We have been almost 2 hours together and have 5 minutes left. Thank you, Sigrun and team, for your support, for the input and creating a sense of community. Thank you for showing up and being here with us today. We had also so many great ideas from you guys. We were working on this together. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Helpful. You're a great leader. Thank you. You've given me more ideas how to support Ukraine. Thank you. Thanks again. So good. Thank you, Laura. I'm glad you also got confirmed that you took the right action. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you. Leadership lessons have helped me. Wonderful. Thank you for that, Candy. I'm here to inspire you to do something, and I hope you go through these lessons if you haven't done it already, or they confirm that you're doing the right things. Feel inspired and supported. Thank you so much. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for inspiration and motivation. Thank you for all the inspiration. Very important for me and to the way to handle this situation on Facebook. Yes, I know people have been scared, but as a leader, and you are all leaders, we have to stand up and we have to show support. Thank you. Very encouraging to step even more into the leader role. As a business owner, you're automatically a leader, and you want to be a good leader. The one that gives direction and doesn't create chaos, because that's the opposite. Great to realize we're all leaders. Yes, every single one of you is a leader, and you want to be a good leader. You want to be a role model. No fussy or unclarity, but a clear direction. Even if you don't have all the information and don't know where things are going, in this moment, right now, this is what you are saying and doing. And tomorrow things might have changed, but then you step up and speak up again and say that. Day by day, that's how you manage a crisis. Evie says, I wrote everything down and will speak about the themes in the following dates in my lives, reels and stories. Yes, I did not put on my slides today that you cannot copy and share and stuff like that, because I actually would love if you use the information I shared with you today. You are welcome to use the information and share with your clients and community. You can say where you got them. That's always a nice thing to do, but you're welcome to reuse my slides. Thank you for joining today. It's been a pleasure. It was the best, absolute best use of my time. And I want to thank you to my team as well. They are in the background helping me out answering comments on multiple social media channels. Petra, I'm grateful to be allowed to live in a free country and democratic country. Yes, we are. And now we need to help those in need. And we stand with Ukraine. We want peace, but we also need to be able to do what we can do to help Ukraine defend their country and help in a humanitarian way those who are refugees already. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you. Bye-bye.